Hi, welcome back to the African Homestead. Today I want to give you a quick tour of our homestead and an overview of what we're doing here. Right now I am standing in the middle of some young forest that we have on the property. I would say it comprises about 40 to 50% of the 50 acres that we have here. Now this area used to be almost impenetrable with undergrowth, young trees, vines, shrubs, all kinds of stuff. And we came in about 3 years ago and we cleared out under the trees. We took out some of the small trees. We tried to open the area up and establish a plantation of coffee and cocoa. And so we ended up planting about 450 cocoa plants. They stood about a foot tall at the time. And over the last 2.5 years, unfortunately, almost all of them have died. You know, I've got so many different opinions on why these died. Some said there was too much sun. Some said there was too much shade. Some said there was too much ground cover. Some said there was too little. And it's just a variety of different reasons. I honestly don't really know. I think maybe too much shade would be one reason. And then when we dug the hole, we didn't really do anything to improve the soil. I think we maybe put like a cup of compost there to add some biological life and a little bit of nutrients. But this topsoil here is so thin. In this area, maybe it's a little bit thicker because it's been in the trees and there's a lot of surface organic matter. But on this hilltop location that I selected, our topsoil is anywhere from 4 to 5 inches thick. And then you hit red laterite soil, which is clay and gravel with a lot of iron in it. So we're gonna do some test planting in some different areas with more sun, more light. You know, young cocoa, they don't like a lot of direct sun. And so that's why we put them here to start with. But it could just be that it was too shady. And so the new area, if that's successful, then we'll probably fell some more trees in here, open up the canopy a little bit more, get some more sunlight in here, brighten the place up. And definitely we have a lot more compost than we did 3 years ago. And so we're gonna be able to plant them, dig a bigger hole with more compost, and I think that'll really help them get off a strong start. Welcome to the Liberian rainy season. Well, behind me are a bunch of pineapple and cassava, and then beyond that is our food forest, where we have planted over 100 types of trees, anywhere from all types of citrus to nut trees to fruit trees. It's gonna be an amazing place. In addition to the more than 1,000 pineapple plants surrounding me, we also have planted lots and lots of cassava. We eat the leaves, we eat the tubers, and it's just a staple here in Liberia. Up next is our house. It's a simple little 2-bedroom house. Actually 6 of us living in there. It was supposed to be kind of a temporary place as we built a 4-bedroom house, but that project hasn't proceeded. And so we are here for now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it in future videos. Behind me is the first pasture that we established here. Having livestock on pasture that we're going to move and do rotational grazing is important to me. And so we established this pasture. It was high bush like everything else on this property, impenetrable unless you had a machete. And so what we did first was to just cut everything down and soon realized what came back were the same shrubs and trees and weeds with a little bit of grass. But as I observed other areas that had a lot of grass and started inquiring what exactly do I need to do to get the grass to really take off here to develop a lush pasture. And the answer was to burn it. We had a no burn policy here. That's just something that we had set as a principle we weren't gonna do. I said, well, let's try it. So we took this 4.5 acre pasture, we let it grow up pretty bushy, we cut it down dry for a week, burned it, and it just gave us amazing results. And so the plan is to never burn this again. Now that the grass is here, we're getting some livestock. It's gonna continue to improve and sequester carbon in the soil and provide a lot of solar energy for our livestock. That's the plan. Now, 4.5 acres here, and then last year we cut down some more bush to add up another 3.5 acres, so a total of 8 acres of pasture, and that is in its first growth up. Again, a lot of brush, trees, weeds that are growing there, so we're gonna let it grow the rest of the rainy season, and then we're gonna burn it, and that is going to be the second pasture. We'll do probably one more expansion to where we'll have a total of about 10 to 11 acres, which is about 20% of the property here in pasture. The rest is going to be either native forest that we're letting go rewild again, or it's going to be a food forest or some type of a tree production area. We have looked at primarily coconut we're looking at possibly doing avocado, but it'll be dominant in a certain species of tree, and then we'll have understory plantings and we'll have companion plantings that we'll do. But again, we want it to be a great place for birds and bees and all that kind of wild animals, for them to be able to live and thrive, and a great place for livestock, a great place for us, a great place for our planet. And so that's the plan we're going with. A limited amount of pasture with herbivores and with ruminants, and then the rest will be trees, production trees. As far as livestock go, we have some rabbits, we have some laying chickens, and we just started a small flock of West African dwarf sheep. And so they are just finishing up their first paddock here, and we're getting ready to cut down the second paddock. We'll have some videos to show you about that in the future, but this is our small herd. We're gonna be adding to it through birth and purchases at this time of year. It's strange as it sounds, in a country with I don't know how many 100,000 sheep, they're actually really hard to buy right now because they recently had Ramadan, they have Muhammad Day, and a lot of the sheep were sacrificed during that time. And so the market's pretty tight. People didn't want to sell their sheep. So it took us a few weeks just to find these 4. This is our little sheep shack that we just finished building. It's traditional here to put your livestock away at night. There's concerns about theft is the main one, but also that they could get lost. We have guard dogs here, Labradors, who love to hunt. And so we need to also protect them from the dogs. Predator pressure is not really a problem here. It's not like a lot of places in Africa where you're dealing with lions and tigers and other predators. We just don't have those large mammals here that will hunt and kill the sheep. And so we'll put them in here. Later on, the plan is to get cattle also, that we're going to be grazing here on the same land with the sheep. And at that time, we're going to build a proper, I don't know if you call it a barn or just a place for them to sleep. It's going to be pretty simple, open air, probably chain link fence around it with a gate, and just a simple galvanized steel roof on it, just to keep the rain off their heads. And we'll do a cement floor, use that to collect the manure and the urine. It'll be sloped, and we'll be able to collect all of that to compost and to use in the garden. This is our solar array. We are a completely off-grid location since we are basically in the middle of nowhere in the jungle, somewhere between the capital, Monrovia, and the border with Sierra Leone. And so we use this as our primary power source, and I'll have a video in the future that talks specifically about this system. And then we have a small generator backup. It's about a 5 kilowatt kVA generator. Next up is our water tower and our generator house. We have a borehole well that is about 135 feet deep, and we have a solar powered pump that is connected to that. And we also, as a backup, that pump can be ran off of 220, 110, 12 volt DC, and straight solar DC. And so it automatically switches. It's a smart motor, and that's pretty amazing. And then we have a 1,000-gallon tank up on top that keeps us with a decent amount of water pressure. It's 35 feet, so our water pressure in our house is roughly 14.5 PSI, which seems low by US standards, but it's good enough to give me a shower, and that's really what I care about. Next up is the Palava Hut, and that's a traditional structure here in Liberia where you greet people, you meet people, we can have trainings, we can have meetings, we can discuss challenges we're facing, but it's a great place just to hang out in the rain or in the breeze during the dry season. Next up is our training center, and this is actually a combination space. We do training, I can do auto repair, we can do construction projects in there. We also have 2 guest rooms that are air conditioned, a full bath, and I have my office in there also. Next up is our kitchen. This is an outdoor kitchen where we do most of our cooking for the employees that work here. And so we cook over a wood fire. It's a simple structure. The smoke is able to blow easily because it's completely open, but there's a thatch roof that keeps everyone dry in the rainy season. Well, the rain is starting to fall again, so I'm gonna cut this to the close. That is our homestead, and thanks for coming along and seeing it. Feel free to ask any questions you have, and I appreciate any comments that you leave in the comment section below. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Doc?
Okay.